any prostate problems. It was touch and go at one point though. But after I began mimicking a few things aging men with healthy prostates do right and stopped doing a handful of mistakes men with enlarged prostates make, my prostate began to shrink. Now it's the size of a small walnut, just like it should be. My PSA blood tests, the most accurate test for enlarged prostate, went from a terrifying 5 to a healthy level of under 1. My doctor thought this had to be a mistake and forced me to take another test to confirm. Before putting these small changes into action, I wasted the better part of most nights in the bathroom, only to squeeze out a few drops here and there. Now, I almost always sleep through and wake up refreshed and happy. The blood in the pee is gone, and my bladder empties completely. This darn thing was ruining my life. My daughter stopped me from babysitting after I left my grandchildren alone for 20 minutes at the movies to jump quickly to the toilet. It broke my heart, but she was right. Now, Saturdays are fun days with Grandpa. I take them to the park, the movies, wherever we feel like. I empty my bladder before leaving, and I don't have to worry for hours. I don't count the sips of beer during the game just to make it to halftime anymore, or map out pit stops before taking a road trip or even driving across town. And I can visit friends and family without the embarrassment of getting stuck in the bathroom when my bladder just won't let go. I don't think we would ever divorce. But my wife and I had been looking forward to our golden years together, and I was wasting most of that time in the bathroom or worrying about having to go. My wife was concerned about me, but she was also irritated when I woke her up going to the toilet, so I ended up sleeping in the guest room. And when we had our alone time together, my little friend was severely impacted by my prostate issues. Not anymore. We're not 20 anymore, but our marriage is now intimate, fun, and playful. It's all we ever wanted. But I wasn't the one who figured this out. A great man named Scott Davis gave me the roadmap to healing my prostate. Scott is somewhat of a legend in the alternative health world. He's the guy honorable doctors send their patients to when they run out of options. So when I refused to take any more meds, they were ineffective and the side effects were killing me. My doctor's response was, "Then I'll have to send you to Scott Davis." I'm grateful my doctor was humble enough to admit he couldn't help me, and wise enough to know that someone else could. He would actually like to send all his prostate patients to Scott, because like he says, Scott gets the job done, something the medical system simply doesn't have the tools to do. The problem is that many of his patients don't want to put in the little effort it takes to heal their prostates. Instead, they want him to prescribe a magic pill and be done with it. But there is no magic pill for an enlarged prostate. Healing my prostate was easy enough, but it still required some action. At first, I was highly skeptical that Scott could help. I only agreed because I was desperate. Traditional medicine had completely failed me, and spending a lot of money on expensive prostate supplements had taught me the bitter lesson that they're nothing but useless shams. I believed diet and lifestyle changes could help, but I had no idea where to start. So I decided to take the leap of faith. I'm grateful I didn't chicken out, because Scott has since stopped seeing people in person. He says it takes too much time from his research and writing, and this time is better served there. He's the kind of person who is all about effectiveness. He doesn't like to be in the spotlight, promote himself, or do interviews. That's why you're discovering his prostate approach by word of mouth from me, his eternally thankful client. I want to pay this forward, because nobody else has uncovered the real underlying cause of enlarged prostates that Scott identified. Therefore, nobody else can give you the roadmap to prostate health that he gave me and that I now want to give you. Scott got the inspiration from a groundbreaking prostate study published in the Oxford University Journals of Gerontology, Medical Sciences. The study researched a tribe in the Bolivian Amazon named Tsimane Amerindians, and what this study revealed changed everything. You see, almost nobody in this tribe had an enlarged prostate, even the oldest men. But what this Oxford study failed to do was to identify why this tribe does not develop enlarged prostates. And the quest for this why sent Scott out on a mission. So Scott did what Scott does. He investigated things for himself. He jumped on a plane down to the Bolivian jungles, began to study this and other tribes that don't suffer enlarged prostates. And that's where he discovered the fundamental difference between men with enlarged prostates and healthy men. I'll get back to this fundamental difference in a second, because Scott didn't stop there. After spending several months in the Amazon, he returned to the U.S. Here, he examined hundreds of elderly American men who do not suffer enlarged prostates. You have probably been told the myth that all men will develop enlarged prostates with age. That's simply not true, because 1 in 5 men never develops an enlarged prostate, no matter how old they become. Again, the traditional medical system has no explanation of why these men's prostates don't grow bigger, or what these men do, usually unknowingly, to keep their prostates in great shape. But Scott found out, because those prostate-healthy American men confirmed the real underlying cause of enlarged prostates and how to tackle it. You see, the prostate does not just start growing out of nowhere when men turn 50, 60, or 70. This progress starts slowly in the early 30s, around the time men reach their peak in development. The prostate overgrowth, however, begins so slowly that we don't experience any symptoms until things have gone seriously wrong. And it all begins with hormones. No body part has as much and as many types of hormones as the prostate does. And there is a very delicate dance between the different types of hormones. Testosterone is the primary fuel of the prostate. Without it, the prostate would wither down and die. But just like sugar is a powerful fuel source, if we overeat sugar, we get fat. In the same way, if the prostate takes in too much testosterone, it grows too big. It becomes an enlarged prostate. Fortunately, a healthy hormonal system has a way to handle spikes in testosterone. Just like we pack away excess candy and hide it from the kids so they don't gulp it all up, the prostate does the same with testosterone. Specific receptors inside the prostate wrap the testosterone neatly, use it as needed, and exhaust the excess. These receptors are the key to reversing an enlarged prostate. Let's call them prostate receptors. If these prostate receptors are working well, it doesn't matter how high your testosterone level is. These receptors will only let in what the prostate needs. Just like we only give the kids a bit of candy, no matter how full the pantry is. And just to be clear, everyone has enough testosterone to balloon their prostate, even men with low testosterone levels. What Scott discovered was that Tsimane Amerindians had exceptionally effective prostate receptors. And the same was true for American men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who did not develop enlarged prostates. Some had high testosterone levels, others lower. Some had low estrogen, others higher. It didn't make any difference. What mattered was how well their prostate receptors functioned. For the men who had enlarged prostates, something began to damage their prostate receptors starting in their 30s, 40s, or 50s. And that something is causing your prostate to grow out of hand. Let me explain what that something is. The prostate receptors are like bouncers in an unruly bar. They need to be in excellent shape to handle the onset of testosterone. In his 20s, the bouncer can handle cheating a little bit on his diet, but if he keeps this up into his 30s and 40s, his belly will grow bigger and he'll get slower and weaker. And one day, when faced with a stampede, he'll be run over.